Boys and girls, you are now listening, if you're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, or your Tumblr account, and watching, if you're on YouTube, Peter Talks Smackdown. This week's Smackdown is from the University of Nebraska. That's right, folks. The place that Jake, just this last Wednesday, buried the city of Omaha. He buried the fuck out of that place. Well, anyway, I guess this is their whole Midwest tour, the WWE. And SmackDown, again, the taping was on Tuesday. They left Kansas City. To me personally, my opinion, I thought was a really excellent show. Excellent show. And SmackDown was a good, competitive follow-up. The thing about SmackDown, it's taped on Tuesday. It doesn't really give you the same experience as Raw. It gives you actually more matches. You get, out of 2 hours, you get the same amount of matches on a SmackDown that you do that you would get on Raw, but within 2 hours. So, very competitive. All the matches, I think except one, wasn't that great. Just to let you know, go back one video, one episode back, where Jake returns, and Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, episode 48, 4 more weeks until 1 year. We review Battleground, and we review Raw from Kansas City. It's definitely a good, it's a good recording. I like to think it was. It's different. The difference is I finally got some microphones, and it sounds way better. Definitely sounds way better. Two guys on two microphones, rather than just an open air phone. But let's get into this SmackDown, shall we? The first match we get is Ambrose versus Sheamus. Not sure. Okay, all right. So the reason why they're actually going at it is because Sheamus comes out. He cuts a promo about the week before last Thursday, when it was the Big Show and Sheamus versus, I think, Rollins and Reigns, and versus Ambrose and Reigns. There was a big spot where Ambrose DDTs the Big Show through the announce table. Sheamus comes out as like, you old punk ass, pussy ass motherfucker. You sent the Big Show through the table to keep away from me kicking your ass. Kind of a weak plot, but you have to keep in mind, what happened here is what doesn't happen too often, especially in kind of throwaway matches. Tying up loose ends, even though it was a dumb reason for them to fight. At least he brought up that last Thursday something happened. That doesn't happen too often. We move from week to week unless it's like a big storyline. If you're just sort of wearing the mid-card, they never bring up shit from the past, even from a week ago, right? So I thought that was pretty funny. He also, in his promo at the beginning, he brings up the fact that he is the Money in the Bank holder, which he never really talks about too often. And this is one of the things we talk about in Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling this week, is the Money in the Bank and, the peril that it's in, with the fact that it's with Sheamus. And Sheamus isn't someone since he's gained it, hasn't been so ambitious about it, right? Not like anybody before. You knew, and they would even pop up in certain aspects to where they would let you know that they had the Money in the Bank and that, they could cash in. Maybe attempt sometimes. Sheamus hasn't attempted yet, nor has he shown his presence to either Seth Rollins and nothing. So at least he said that he has it. maybe that's the beginning of the ball to starting to roll. The match is decent. I don't know. I like Ambrose. I like Ambrose, but one thing that I'm starting to recognize is that it's kind of hard to get behind him in the ring because he rarely allows himself to catch the babyface beatdown. And I'm just now catching on to that. Like, he'll probably let someone get like a little bit of offense in, and then he'll just like go right to it. So it's kind of hard to really back him up in the ring and really tell a story. Even though he's mad over, I think he's more over because he's the lunatic fringe, but not necessarily his storytelling in the ring as a babyface. During this match, Sheamus attacks the knee, which I thought was a opportunity for either Phillips or Saxton or even Uso to bring up the previous match that he had where his knee could still be bothered. The Money in the Bank match against Seth Rollins. Not Money in the Bank. Well, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and the championship ladder match. His knees took a hellacious beating. And maybe that's why Sheamus went after it during this match, which I could commend Sheamus as, a performer, because normally he's just a brute. He never, I guess in his matches, he never focuses really on one thing. Maybe the back, but he just jumps around. But this match in particular, he stuck to the knees, to that one knee, the same knee that Rollins attacked at the Money in the Bank. And they didn't even bring it up. I guess for one fucking loose end tie-up, you get another one that doesn't get revisited. But he does that stupid move again. That one where he puts the knee, like he stretches the knee over his neck. God, I hate that fucking move so much. You know what? They say he looks stupid. He doesn't look as stupid as that fucking move. Straight up. Well, anyway, around the end of the match, you hear basically the Wyatt family, and Bray Wyatt is on the ramp. Luke Harper standing on the announce table, and it looks like, where the fuck Sheamus go? So in Dean Ambrose' dumbass way, he always puts himself in these situations where he looks dumb. He runs at Harper and is met with a vicious brogue kick. Sheamus drags the carcass into the ring, and he hits him with another brogue kick. Puts him out 1, 2, 3. I guess this extends again the feud between the Wyatt, Luke, and Bray. Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt, with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Roman Reigns doesn't even show up on this show today, which I found very weird. If they're going to run with this feud until SummerSlam, like it's like V2 Wyatt's versus the Shield. But either way, yeah, the one match I was talking about that really didn't do much was the match number 2. Got Adam Rose, who gets the jobber intro. He's just standing in the ring, versus Neville, and they do the whole spew of his before the match. His whole spew with his I guess the guy he's been feuding with, Stardust, who, again, I'm not really pleased with what they're doing with him post Dusty Rhodes' death. You can say what you want. I don't give a fuck. They should let go of that gimmick. He's even more maniacal. I mean, not necessarily. He's more delusional, I guess. And I don't know. I'm just ready for them to drop it. But they're gung ho on this sort of superhero, art villain, comic book thing. I mean, the only thing that's really cool out of this is the sick graphics when telling this story. I guess it's like this is a lackluster match. Neville basically makes short work of Adam Rose. And you get two jabronis in the crowd. You can hear them yelling NXT. And I'm just like, NXT, there's two jabronis. And I go, in my head, I'm like, you know what's funny? He's not on NXT any longer. I think he's been on the main roster for a couple of months now, maybe 4, maybe even 5 months now. Almost half a year he's been on the main roster. And honestly, even though he did his damage in NXT, I still view him as more of a Japan guy. So if you want to chant some shit right now and you want to go deep, anyone who's listening or have a friend that loves wrestling and wants to go to a WWE live event and want to chant something at Neville to basically show that you know his independent past, chant Dragon Gate, okay? Dragon Gate, Dragon Gate. I think he would appreciate that much more. Well, anyway, Neville wins with the red arrow, and Stardust shows up on the big screen, and he just says some crazy. He's basically a space version of Bray Wyatt. They're basically spitting the same promo, but in different contexts, right? So he says this dumb thing, but one thing that does stand out in this little package that he's spitting on the big screen after the match, he goes, "My hand is touching your hand." And for anyone who watched and didn't understand the reference, or if you got the reference, it's part of the Hard Times promo from his father Dusty. It's basically, Hard Times is like the biggest promo almost in wrestling. It's Dusty's biggest career promo he cut in his feud with Ric Flair, who took him out, and that was his return promo, the Hard Times promo. But one of the things at the end, he says, "Just you you at home, reach out, and my hand is touching your hand," and he says this in his promo. So maybe there's something happening here with creative and transitioning him to this sort of thing where he's referencing his late father, and maybe that will move him into more of the Cody, gimmick than say the Stardust. Maybe it's a slow burn. We'll see. After that, we get like a little Sasha Banks spotlight, and then the whole bad, beautiful, and dangerous faction that she has with Naomi and Tamina. But they should come out to her music, actually. I think Sasha, every once in a while, Sasha Banks, her music just kind of like, it's like an earworm. It screams majestic. I think, you look at what's the music that Naomi has. It's like, I'm a man, yeah. I hate that fucking song. And, yeah, they basically, because what's gonna happen, I swear, in that whole thing is Sasha Banks is going to start feuding with Naomi, and or she's gonna basically play what The Rock played with the Nation of Domination. Naomi, because she's been on the main roster longer, by de facto, she is the leader of the group. But Sasha Banks is the boss, and I think, just like The Rock with the Nation of Domination, when he won the Intercontinental Championship, he kind of forced himself as the leader, to the top of the faction as the leader. And I can see Naomi and Sasha having that same sort of squabble where Sasha's going to be like, hey, I'm a champ and shit, see? And I run things around here, not you. And Tamina takes sides with Sasha. And we'll see moving forward. But this all came from me just wanting to hear Sasha Banks' music rather than Naomi's whenever they present themselves. But let's see. Next match, again, another straight up competitive show. We get Kevin Owens versus Rusev. And this is a return match. Well, not necessarily return. Tying up loose ends where this is a result from last week's, well, not last week's, but last Monday's um, match with Orton, Cesaro, and Cena versus Rusev, Owens, and Sheamus. The match ends with, I mean, I guess Sheamus leaves, and then Owen leaves Rusev in for the big finish in the end between the three baby faces, putting their finishing moves on Rusev. And this is basically Rusev wanting revenge for what Owens did by walking out on him. But Owens comes out at first and he spits a promo about him tapping out and the fact that he explains why he tapped out, being that, okay, yeah, I tapped out, but like I live to fight another day. I got too much at stake. I have a career, I have a family, and yeah, I'm not gonna put myself at risk of injury. So yeah, I'm gonna tap out. I fight, I live to fight another day, and you're just gonna accept it. That's how I'm gonna roll. And I think this is the character that Owens is becoming. The fact that, yeah, he's a badass and he's good, but he's gonna be this guy who, at all costs, will protect himself. Not necessarily one-on-one matches, but he will protect himself. And this is an expression of, say, what happens in this match. And and basically it boils into why he walked out on Monday, where he walked down on Rusev because he saw that they were 2-on-3, and he wasn't going to put his body on the line like there was some sort of, pride or anything to be one man down and to face three baby faces. So he walked down on Rusev, and that's this is the character that Owens has become, for the look out for self kind of guy. And the match itself is so fresh, it's so cool. It was really cool to see, and it's a shame, not a shame, but maybe this is a test run of say them in a bigger feud later down the line, because they really work well together. And something that really stands out is that in this match is that Rusev actually threw Kevin Owens around. It was like a test of strength for Rusev. I mean, there was one like fall away slam that he put on Owens. I was just like, God damn, like Owens is not a small boy. Now you want to talk about Cesaro's strength. Rusev is up there. He picked his ass, maybe because he's more bulky, he looks more strong, that it's more believable that he could pick up someone at the size of Owens. But man, he did it, and he tossed his ass back, and through the whole match, it was maybe like 3 or 4 spots where he picked Owens up. But there was a part, I think, where Owens had he hit the cannonball on Rusev, and I think he drug him out, and he was having trouble like pulling him from out of the corner, and he goes, God man, lose some weight. I laughed so hard. I thought that was so funny because it was kind of under his breath, and you're talking about a fat guy telling another big guy that he needs to lose some weight. I fucking lost it. But there was a point where Rusev ended up getting the upper hand, and Owens just walks out. He's like, he just gets the fuck out the ring, and he stands outside for a bit, and he looks like he's about to get back in, but he's like, fuck that, I'm out. And he steps off. And once I think about it again, this is another spot for Rusev to look like a babyface. Now keep up with me on this, okay? I think at some point, and I don't know this crazy thing that they're doing with Summer Rae and his obsession with Lana, but like, my God, as a fighter, as an in-ring performer, as Rusev the character, this is like, he's putting these baby face moments. He wants revenge for being walked out on, right? And then Owens walks out on him during the match. He's like, "Where are you going? Come back and get some." That's what a babyface does, right? So, just call me crazy, but I just see a turn for Rusev, or them finally flip the switch on Rusev to just make him a straight out babyface. Now, again, it's going to be a tough road, but if you could do it with Alberto Del Rio a couple of years ago, a American hating, like aristocrat kind of a dude, and then he could become all of a sudden like this baby face. You could do the same shit with Rusev. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. In these situations like this situation, what happened on Monday, what happened the week prior, he was left in underdog baby face positions. So if they're gonna keep going with this, just, maybe make it the slow burn. I see it coming. But if not, clean this shit up, because to me, and I'm not someone who's like a smarky mark nitpick guy, but I do get my little nitpick on, and I don't like this shit. I don't like this sort of wishy-washy, this heel, but he's put in these babyface underdog situations, all right? Where I have to feel sorry for him. Lana leaves him, I gotta feel sorry for him for that shit. Some dude takes his girl, and so on and so forth. Especially what happened Monday. That was that was something that John Cena should have been in, and for him to like rise and get redemption at some point. Backstage, you get Cesaro with JoJo, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And he basically tells his story. I mean, he tells a story about him working hard and him not being able to see his family and miss his best friend's wedding and all that shit, because he loves the business. He loves this business. And boom. And guess who walks up? It's Owens. He leaves the fucking ring. And I think Owens is going to be my little comic. He's going to be the dude that makes me laugh. Because it's just funny how, without like any kind of anything, transition or nothing, he walks straight from the ring to interrupt Cesaro's promo. And they go back and forth. And it's pretty funny. It's just like, you did this. He's like, I'm going to go get something to eat. Well, I hope you don't choke like you did with John Cena. I guess with every loose end tied, you gotta, there's another loose end that isn't tied. And I found it surprising that within the back and forth between the two and the matches that they've both had with Cena, Owens doesn't bring up the fact that 3 weeks ago that he beat Cesaro. That doesn't even come up. I guess it never happened. Did it happen? I saw it, but maybe that was that tree in the forest. But Owens, I think that's Cesaro. But Cesaro brings up, I think, a good catchphrase: "Walk Owens, walk." Fight Owens, fight. Walk Owens, walk. If he's gonna be like this guy who walks out on matches and not want to finish, protect his body, blah blah blah, walk Owens, walk. I can hear the crowd saying it already. And then we get Naomi with Sasha Banks. And they come out to Naomi's music versus the Bella Twins, which was so hard for me to pay attention. It was just really difficult to pay attention. The Bella Twins win, right? But it's Naomi that's put in the racket, hit with the bull hammer and hit with the rack attack for the victory. The only thing that bothered me during this match, other than the fact it's like the Bella Twins and I have to take them serious against like Naomi and especially Sasha Banks, is that Jimmy Uso is on commentary and he's not showing any bias towards his wife at all. Each week, ever since he's been on the commentary team for SmackDown. And anytime that Naomi is in the ring, He shows no favoritism to her whatsoever. And I do not understand why that's the case. I need to like call into like the PW Torch or write to Solomon, even though he doesn't fucking watch SmackDown. But just ask why Jimmy Uso is so unbiased whenever his wife is in the ring, getting her ass kicked. It's like, whoop, yep, whoop, she lost. Like, what the fuck? Maybe that's just the Samoan way. I don't know. But, yeah, and plus, Naomi took the fall and not Sasha Banks. I approve. I approve of that. And then the last match, again, competitive, great match between Rollins and Cesaro. It looked good. Again, I would say since Seth Rollins, well, I guess in terms of one-on-one matches, I think Seth Rollins' best match, seriously his best match, was the triple threat at the Royal Rumble with Cena and Brock Lesnar. This right here is a close second. And I think it has a lot to do with Cesaro. Cesaro can just walk into any ring and he can make anyone look good. You got dueling styles. You got one that's very, wily and Rollins and quick. And then you got like just the athletic and the muscle of Cesaro. And it was a beautiful dance. If you just watch or listen to this Peter Talk SmackDown, and you're curious about that match, I go get your Hulu on, jump on YouTube, do anything you can, watch this match. It's really awesome. There's a point where we try to get another walk off. Rollins grabs his belt because Cesaro was whooping his ass. He tries to bolt and he's met with a fucking sick uppercut. He throws him back into the ring. He kicks the belt out of his hands, and it looks like he's about to put him in the big swing. But as the ref goes for the belt to throw it back out of the ring, thumb to the eye, Rollins gives Cesaro, and I think he takes him down, and then he sets him up for a pedigree, and he wins the match with the pedigree. Whatever. We've seen Cesaro lose a fucking enough. He can lose this. It's the fucking WWE, world heavyweight champion of the world. I can dig that, and I can dig the thumb to the eye. Fuck it. But right after that, Kevin Owens comes down the ramp to pick the bones, and he gets on him, just starts wailing on him. And by the way, good sell of the pedigree, bro. He stays down, and Owens hits Cesaro, finish him off again with a pop-up power bomb, and that's how this ends. I guess the person of the night, once you really think about it, is Owens, and the storyline between Cesaro, Owens, and Rusev. Who they gonna pick and choose? Who's feuding? We'll see. We still got Dolph Ziggler in the waiting for him to come back, and maybe that will be, not maybe, it will be the feud between Rusev and Dolph, but it's still pretty tough. It's pretty tough for him to be floating around without anyone really to feud with, and getting put in these baby face underdog positions. And other than that, a NXT girl was protected by not getting pinned. We got to hear Cesaro's story. Barrett's promo, I guess, is his coming out party or whatever. He basically talks about. I mean, I'm just going back. He puts all. I don't even think I mentioned it, but he comes out and talk. He spits a promo about how he's basically won since he's won this and all this stuff, and now he's putting all wrestlers on notice after his match with R-Truth. We get a little bit of human from Stardust. And I guess the Ambrose story extends. And if you listen to Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, that's one of the things that I mentioned. And I think I have an inclination. It's not fantasy booking. It's just I think that Ambrose may join the Wyatt family. And we'll see. And that's it with Peter Talks Smackdown. You can do a bunch of things, but I narrow it down to maybe, I think, 4. Hit the button down below and subscribe to the PJTW Central YouTube page. All the content that I put on SoundCloud and Stitcher is on YouTube. It takes a little longer to upload, but I do it because YouTube's a great place to share. Thumbs up. Leave a comment. Ask a question. I'm open to anything. Share with your friends. You can also bookmark pjtwcentral.com. All the content from any and all, from the SoundCloud page, the Stitcher page, and if you have a Tumblr account, it's all there. Now, when you go to PJTW Central, the YouTube is actually, you could just click that if you like. But if you want to listen to other means of, so SoundCloud or Stitcher, you don't want to see this beautiful face, you have that option right there. And you can actually, and if you do use those mediums, you can just subscribe and then listen from there if on your mobile device. Again, like, share, add me on, follow me on Twitter. I will follow you back. PJTW Central. All right, that's PJTW Central on Twitter. Be sure to go back and check out yesterday's upload of, well, not yesterday, sorry, Wednesday's upload of Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, the Battleground and Raw review from Kansas City. And then with the microphones, which is I'm pretty stoked about that. And check out my live reactions to the Battleground pay-per-view. 4 matches. Brave versus Reigns. The Divas triple threat match. Cena versus Owens, and Brock versus Rollins. I learned how to do the little picture-in-picture. So rather than just seeing me and my expressions, you actually see the match down below as my expressions happens. It took a while to learn how to do that, but it's all for you. It's all for you. And thank you so much for listening and watching Peter Talk Smackdown. We'll be seeing you soon, and have a good and safe and happy weekend.